And I was like, Hi you guys, and welcome back to another video. It's your girl Brianna Rochelle. If you are new here or if you have not done it already, please make sure you click on that subscribe button down below. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my fall favorite fragrances this year. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so with the exception of one, I think all of these are going to be new to you guys, also new to my collection this year, and I'm super excited to share with you guys a few of them that I got. The very first one that I'm going to start with is Miss Zara Ebony Woods, and the girls already know Kyra put us all on when she was raving about how good this one smells, and it was so hard to get it at first. I think I ended up going to like two of the Zaras that's here in the DFW Metroplex, and I was like, I give up. I'm not about to be running back and forth between these Zaras when they have them, and then by the time I get there, they're sold out. So I decided to order mine online, and luckily they had the big bottle, which I was like, I'm blind buying. And I've gotten into this thing where like blind buying has kind of become my thing, because I think I'm well versed enough in the notes and fragrances that I have and that I love. So I was like, okay, like let's just go ahead and go in for it, because there weren't any more of the small bottles available. The notes in Miss Ebony Woods are pink pepper, clove, and ebony wood. And y'all, this is the perfect fragrance for layering. I layer it with a lot of like my sweeter, like vanilla type fragrances, and this is just, it is just the perfect combination for the fall. You can wear her by herself, and I just love one. This is one of the affordable fall fragrances. I think this one for this size was, let me tell y'all. So this one is currently $39.90. The smaller bottle, which is half of this size, is like 20 bucks. So if you are interested in trying this, I would run to your local Zara, your nearest Zara, or just hit up the online and have it delivered to your home. Y'all already know everything will be linked down below in the description box if you're interested in shopping these fragrances too as well. This right here, this is one of my absolute favorites. Like, I knew that Celine fragrances were something, but baby, when I went to Spain and I smelled this, I just told her to go ahead and box it up. This one is Celine Black Tie. Y'all, look at her. She is everything. So like I said, I had picked up this one in Spain, and I was lucky that they didn't take it from me in my connecting flight in London, because baby, they do not play with your liquid ounces limits and like how many. I know like everything is supposed to be like under 100 ml or under, but I didn't know that there was a certain amount of things that you can carry. So I had to discard of 50% of my skincare products, and I was like, fragrance is way too expensive for me to throw that away. So I was like, I'll just replace it, like it's whatever. What really sold me on the black tie was the storytelling from my CA. When I went in, she was just like showing me all of the fragrances, because I was like, they don't have it at the Celine here in Dallas, the fragrances. So when I tried them, she was just telling me it was his obsession with like a nice, well-tailored black suit and a tie to go with it. So that was the inspiration behind the fragrance. And y'all already know I am a sucker for good storytelling moment when it comes to like shopping or like restaurants and things like that. So she was just like, oh, like let me just go ahead and rope her in with this emotional connection. And y'all, like there was another one that I wish I had gotten to as well, but I'm glad I didn't overdo it, because like I said, I had to throw away so much of my skincare when I got to London. So the notes of the black tie, it's white orris butter, cedar, tree moss, vanilla, and musk. And it's the perfect like cross section between like a very like feminine fragrance and a very, very musky masculine fragrance. Like it's the perfect cross section, which is why I believe like it can be unisex. So if you are in the market for a nice fall fragrance that's not too like musky, but you're also still going for that like as a woman, because that's how I am with my fragrance selections. I think that this is the perfect one for you. I think if you order them online, they do send it with the sample, so if you don't love it, like, you can always return it. Just make sure you don't open the actual fragrance packaging, because then it's unreturnable. Next up, we have Miss Jo Malone in Myrrh Tonka, and this is one of their more intense fragrances, and y'all would have seen that I got this at the Peyton Charles meet and greet a few weeks ago, and I love this one. I did not think I was going to like it as much because I smelled it on the card at first and I was like, and then when I sprayed it on my skin, I was like, and then once it dried down, I was like, oh, okay. So this one is not for like, this is for a very mature like palette when it comes to fragrances, because the very initial spray, you're just kind of like a little put off by it, but once it dries down, like, you really learn to love and appreciate the notes that this develops into. This one has notes of lavender, myrrh and tonka bean, and it smells very sweet with the dry down. It also maintains like a very woody base, so it's not too sweet with the dry down, but it's just enough, like, it's perfect. And I wore this one to work yesterday, I believe, and everybody was like, what are you wearing? Like, I can just smell you. And everybody at work knows that I am a fragrance connoisseur. But they were like, this is definitely like a Brianna fragrance. Like, it is you. Like, it's truly matches your personality and all these great things. So this was a really good pickup. Also want to take it because I think they got their engraver, so I want to take it to get engraved and just put like something really cute on the back of the bottle. I told you guys a lot about this one last year, and it's the Christian Dior Oud Isfahan. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because I've been saying that. But this is what the bottle looks like. You guys remember I talked a lot about this one last year. It reminds me very much of the Satin Oud by MFK. It's just very sophisticated. Again, not for your typical like super florally girls unless you want to try something different. This is definitely one of my go-tos, and you don't really need a lot because this one is very strong. So one spray and it'll last me all day. It has a very velvety dry down, and a lot of ouds typically do. So I really do appreciate this one. Again, really great for layering if you want your fragrances to have a little bit more depth. So this is one of my go-tos yet again this fall. For Oud Isfahan, it contains notes of rose, patchouli, saffron, argarwood, which is oud, sandalwood, and cedar. So lots of like the woody notes that helps give it that velvety dry down. So it's not like, I don't know if you've ever smelled like pure oud oil, and it's very strong and potent. So I think like this is the perfect blend of like the rose notes as well as those woody notes, which just gives it that beautiful velvet dry down like I mentioned before. Also from Christian Dior, and this one was so hard to get my hands on, it's the Ombre Nuit from them. And y'all, forgive me if I'm butchering some of these names, but you guys see the bottle looks very, I mean, identical to the Oud Isfahan that I showed you guys earlier. This one, it's just very fresh initially, but the dry down, it's just so, I don't even know how to explain it, but this, once I smelled it in Spain, I was like, oh yeah, I need that. And they only had like the bigger bottles while I was there, and I was like, ugh. I traveled very light, so I only had a carry-on, and I didn't want it to be taken from me at check-in, because I'm so afraid of losing my luggage. I've seen like all in the news, people are losing their luggage left and right, so I was like, I'm definitely gonna pack light, okay? So Ombre Nuit has notes of grapefruit and bergamot, and it opens into like a Turkish rose and pink pepper. There are also amber notes within it, so it's just a very like seductive and a very, very mature scent. Again, this one is subjective, of course. It's kind of like coffee, like you either like it or you don't. So if you are able to try this, I would definitely 1000% recommend. So this last one gets an honorable mention. It's the Prada Paradox, which you can see that I have kind of ran through, which I'm a little embarrassed about. When I first got this one, I got it in late August, I want to say, and I was not in love. I was like, what the heck is this? And then I chatted with my friend and she's like, maybe it's one of like those fall, like pre-fall fragrances, because it's still very like fresh and floral, but like the notes of vanilla kind of gives you like that very cozy, like warm weather feeling vibe. So I was like, maybe this is like my pre-fall scent. So I've been using this one like September. We're still in the middle of October, middle-ish of October. So this is a really good pre-fall scent. And obviously everyone's body chemistry is a little different, so maybe this may work for you better in the summer and the spring, but for me, like, this just developed so much better into September. And like once the weather had dropped from like those 90s, it was just kind of like 80s, some days were 70s. So this was ideal for me, again, as my pre-fall fragrance. I've also layered this with a little bit more of like my deeper fragrances. For example, I've layered it with the Ebony Woods, and these together made a great pair on me. The notes for the Prada Paradox are pear. I'm always dropping things when I am talking to y'all, but the notes are pear, tangerine, bergamot, orange blossom, jasmine, neroli, and bourbon vanilla, white musk, amber, and benzoin. So it's just like a very sensual fragrance after the dry down, because initially you get like all of those top notes that are very fresh and floral, and once it dries down, it's the perfect like low 70s weather. Like, it's not like cold, but it's just like chilly enough for that vibe. These fragrances are my personal favorite for this fall, simply because the cold weather is actually one of my favorite seasons, because it allows like your fragrances to like let those more sophisticated notes develop a little bit more and last a lot longer. I think I hear this question a lot from my friends. It's just like, I loved this fragrance when I bought it, and you bought it like in the depth of spring or summer, and your fragrance isn't necessarily changing unless you're not storing it correctly, like in the sun and things like that. But what changes is like your body chemistry in terms of like what weather it is. So the only time that your fragrance actually changes again is if you're storing it incorrectly or with age. Like if you have some fragrances that are very, very old and maybe it's time to kind of get rid of those, that's the only time your fragrances typically change. I was very excited to share with you guys. I don't have as money as I had last year, simply because I've invested a lot more into like better quality, better pizza, better what does that TikTok say? Better ingredients, better pizza, better bitches, better money, my clothes better, my shoes better. No, but I've taken the time to do a little bit more research, so I have just these 4 per se new fragrances entering to the collection this fall. If you are changing any of your fragrances for this fall, go ahead and drop some of your suggestions down in the comments below. Y'all already know I am a fragrance crazy person, so I am happy to go and check them out. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and y'all already know I can't wait to see y'all in the next one.